Apologies to the purists in my audience, but it is time to break out the iced coffee. So I've got a quick update on a story we released yesterday. This was about Roger Stone being caught on audio tape at Mar-a-Lago telling both Lauren Windsor and Alisa Marco, our very own nerd avenger, about the plans in the upcoming election to try to secure a victory for Donald Trump in a rather unsavory way. If you missed it, go back and watch it. At any rate, Stone was so angry that he has already sent out a threat on Twitter to Lauren Windsor. He says that she doesn't understand the law in this situation and he is going to sue her. He ends with some choice words, which I cannot resist but say because they're grammatically incorrect. He says, "Take out your checkbook, bitch." But he left the comma out between checkbook and bitch as if there is a sort of compound noun called a checkbook bitch. And I don't know who Roger Stone's checkbook bitch is, but he certainly is on someone's payroll. I'd also like to remind you that Roger Stone is a convicted felon who was pardoned by Donald Trump. Speaking of stones, in this case, stone tablets, today, Louisiana's governor signed into a law requiring that public schools display the 10 Commandments. Now, not only is this unlawful, but it is crazy. Let's deal with the unlawful part first. The Supreme Court in 1980 ruled in Stone v. Graham, a different Stone, a case coming up from Kentucky, that it was unconstitutional to place in every public school classroom the 10 Commandments. How would Donald Trump and MAGA stand up to a commandments test? Donald Trump's often boasting about the cognitive test that he passes somehow by being able to identify an elephant or a mouse or something like that. Okay, let's do this. All 10 commandments. Are you ready? Thou shalt not have any God before me. That means Yahweh, or if you're Christian, Jesus is at the top of the hierarchy. How has Donald Trump and MAGA done on that front?
Oh, President Trump is a convicted felon. Well, you want to know something? The man that I worship is also a convicted felon. And he was murdered on a Roman cross.
Not making any graven images. That means idol worship. Has anyone prayed to a God other than the divine under, if you are Jewish or Christian? In this case, I think Louisiana is having this from a Christian perspective. But either way, how has MAGA done on that front? The third commandment is about not taking the Lord's name in vain. That means no cussing, no cursing. How does that work for MAGA, the F your feelings crowd?
If you don't support me, you're going to be so goddamn poor, you're not going to believe it.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So the fourth commandment is keeping the Sabbath holy. So for Jews, this is a Saturday. For Christians, it is a Sunday. Either way, how has Donald Trump been doing in that respect? Yeah, not very impressive. You know, these early commandments are kind of softballs, right? We get to our next commandment, the fifth commandment, and it is honor thy father and mother. Okay, let's see how Donald Trump does that. Like on Father's Day, how is he honoring fathers? The sixth commandment is thou shalt not kill. And I just checked it, and there is no footnote that says unless you are on Fifth Avenue.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
The seventh commandment should be easy. That states thou shalt not commit adultery.
Oops.
I did check the original Hebrew, and there was no exception for adult film stars. Now let's look at the eighth commandment. Thou shalt not steal. And I had to look really hard, but I found absolutely no exception for stealing that involved creating fake universities that resulted in $20+ billion RICO settlements. I saw no exception for stealing in the form of fraud that results in hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud settlements. I did not see any of that. I didn't even see anything about stealing from a charity so intensely that you are banned from running a charity in the state of New York. So he's not doing so great. And now the ninth commandment. The ninth commandment forbids bearing false witness against thy neighbor. That kind of sounds like defamation. And we know about the defamation cases brought against him by E. Jean Carroll, both of which he lost, and even after that, he continues to defame her. Now we have the last but not least commandment. Thou shalt not covet. Covet means to be envious of others. Now let's take a look at Donald Trump. Is he envious at all? I think we have our answer. Now, on to Crazy Town. So Crazy Town today is in England at Stonehenge, where these protesters from Just Stop Oil charged at these mysterious, enigmatic stone structures that date back thousands of years and damaged them. And I just don't see how this has a direct connection for how we protect the earth from ongoing climate change. It is a distraction. It is a detriment. And it strikes me is that these types of anarchists are really more in it for damage, for expressing their anger violently, than they are for protecting Mother Earth. But that's just me. That's all I got today. See you tomorrow.